Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar, Giving Choices to Children and Why They Are Important for Avoiding Power Struggles. So this is by Indie Laine Learning Co. And I am your presenter today. My name is Jessica. You'll learn a little bit about me later on in this presentation. So just a little bit of housekeeping I wanted to let you know is that this webinar can be viewed by parents, teachers, and other caregivers. So for the sake of remaining neutral and consistent, I will be using the term your child throughout the presentation. Of course, you can translate this to students, grandchild, learner, etc. Make it fit your needs. Now, we all have the capability of getting into power struggles with our children. Everyone has busy schedules, and in order for things to run smoothly and on time, it's so important that we aren't spending 30 minutes, an hour, up to 2 hours of our day battling with our little ones. In this webinar, you are going to learn how to pinpoint a power struggle and learn why giving choices is such a helpful tool for mitigating protest. So I like to start with a quote. I really feel that it kind of gets my mind into the topic, and I really hope that it does the same for you. The greatest power that a person possesses is the power to choose by J. Martin Co. I'm not sure if I said that last name correctly. Feel free to shoot me an email and correct me if not. So before we get deeper into today's content, I did want to take a minute and introduce myself so you know a little bit about me and my background. My name is Jessica. I am an early childhood educator. I am also a BCBA. If you don't know what a BCBA is, it is a board certified behavior analyst. I am also the co-founder of Indie Laine Learning Co. I have upwards of 15 years of experience, actually more than that now, with children, working with children of different abilities. Right now, my main focus is working with families of neurodiverse children. One of my main roles here at Indie is heading our caregiver coaching. So I offer one-on-one coaching sessions for parents and other caregivers who are looking to make significant changes in supporting their young children. I also develop the curriculum for Indie. Our company specializes in creating materials for children, again, especially neurodiverse children. Those are two of my main roles. My areas of expertise include providing proactive strategies, which reduces the likelihood of a big behavior, such as giving choices, what we're learning about today. I also specialize in social and emotional learning. I do a lot of work with assisting families in analyzing their current lines of communication with their child and how to open it further, especially around building that emotional intelligence at a young age. And also natural environment teaching, which is just providing practical strategies for teaching at home. Now, during my coaching sessions, I work with the different caregivers that I work with on collaborating on creating these strategies together. So I'm not necessarily going to tell you what to do, but I do a lot of collaboration and connecting with families to make sure that we are coming up with proper strategies together. Of course, I use my expertise and I offer suggestions, but ultimately, this is a very family-driven service that we provide. So if you are interested in more information about our coaching services, please email us at info@indielearningco.com. Alrighty, let's get started. So what is a power struggle? A power struggle is when two or more people battle for control. In this case, we're going to be talking about you and your child. You might be asking yourself, but how do I know if I'm in a power struggle with my child? This is the number one way to know if you're in a power struggle. So really what we see is that your child is completely refusing to do what you have asked. but you keep insisting that they do it. They do that thing. You need to do it. This then turns into a battle of the wills with neither of you backing down. You are saying, you need to do this thing. You need to do it. And your child's saying, no, I don't want to. No. Or if they are non-vocal, they are using their communication systems. Or if they are nonverbal, then, they're tantruming. You see it in their behavior. There are thousands of different ways your child is telling you and protesting no. And I'm sure you know it. I'm sure you've seen it. So what happens in a power struggle? So typically what we see is that there's a bit of a pattern in behaviors. The adult makes a request from the child refuses, protests, in any way that looks like for them, whether it's a tantrum, whether it's the vocal no, stomping, screaming, the whole gamut. Then this bit of a back and forth kind of continues until one of the parties give in. Either you say, fine, whatever, you don't have to do it, or your child does it and, is not really happy about it. Ultimately, both parties leave a power struggle exhausted and in an overall bad mood. Think about if this is something that you kind of have to handle first thing in the morning. For both of you, that just puts you both on edge for the entire day. So really, no one truly wins when it comes to a power struggle. And ultimately, it just damages the relationship that you have with your child and makes it even more difficult the next time you make a request. Well, if you're here, that means that there's a better way. So you've heard me use the term in this presentation when I was talking about my area of expertise. You heard me use the term proactive strategy. So let's chat a little bit about what a proactive strategy is. So a proactive strategy is a skill or a tool that is taught before a big behavior occurs. Now, we teach it before the big behavior, or we use it before the big behavior because we don't want your child to think, okay, every time my caregiver asks me to do something, all I have to do is throw a tantrum and I don't have to do it. A proactive strategy is put in place for those pain points that you might be experiencing day to day. That's why it's so important to provide that proactive strategy before the behavior. We really don't want your child to then, believe that they have to get into a power struggle every time to get their way. So providing choices is one of many proactive strategies that can be implemented to help reduce the intensity of a big emotion and reduce or potentially avoid the likelihood of a big behavior. There are tons of strategies out there. We're going to be focusing on giving choices today. So before we really get into what that looks like, I did want to talk about the short-term and long-term benefits of giving choices. So for your child, it allows them to self-evaluate their wants and needs. It also promotes autonomy and independence in daily activities, the power to choose their clothing, the power to choose what they're going to be eating. It really allows them to think about what they want in that moment. Giving choices also promotes communication by allowing a line of communication to remain open while you're placing a request on your child. And what it does is over time, your child's going to know that when you place a request, they might have an option. They have an option. So they can communicate that option. You're going to meet that. You're going to meet their wants and needs. And overall, it increases your awareness of your child's preferences, which in turn builds trust that you will fulfill your child's wants and needs. So once they're able to communicate that they prefer, for example, pretzels over crackers, you then learn that that's a preference. So it also manages expectations. Everyone likes to know what to expect and when to expect it. I mean, I sure do. If something's getting thrown at me unexpectedly, sometimes it kind of throws me off for a little bit. So it really helps manage those expectations by communicating your expectations to your child while also empowering them to evaluate their preferences. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like. So, prior to providing choices, I would like for you to consider 2 to 3 feasible options that your child can select from. I typically like to keep my choice selections down to 2. I've noticed over the years that too many choices can also be difficult for children. So usually I provide the 1 or 2. If they request something else and that's available, then that's completely fine as well. So let's get into what it sounds like. What does giving choices look like? Let's say that getting into bed is hard for your child. So you would try something like this. It's time for bed. Would you like your cars or spaceship PJs tonight? Now, what it does is it communicates your expectation by saying it's time for bed while still providing choices for your child to choose from. So they can wear their car PJs or they can wear their spaceship PJs. Typically, you'll wait for a response, and then your child will select from the choices, or they're going to pick something else. They may ask for their dinosaur PJs that day, and if it's available, go for it. Feel free to give that to them. The point is that they're getting into bed. So if they choose something outside of that selection, it's fine. So I wanted to pose a little bit of a scenario for you. So let's imagine, it's fall. I live in Arizona, so fall is really still 90 degrees. And, let's say where you live, it gets kind of cool outside. And you really want your child to wear something warm. So you ask them to put on a yellow sweater. Your child completely has a tantrum. Whether it's they don't like the yellow sweater, they weren't expecting to wear something that was more clothing, maybe the sweater's too heavy on their body, the tags. There are a variety of reasons why your child may not want to wear the yellow sweater. And what would happen is that you guys get into a power struggle, and then you're just running late. So if this is first thing in the morning, you're running late for school, you're running late for work, everything is kind of set back. So let's take a look at this example with the choice. So your child is given the choice between a yellow sweater or a blue jacket. Your child picks the blue jacket. They like the blue jacket. It's comfortable. You're happy because it gets to keep them warm. And then you guys leave for school and leave for work, and your day continues. So, both those options provide your child with that warmth, that covering, while they're still able to make their own choices. They have some autonomy over what happens and what they wear. So we've discussed power struggles and the importance of giving choices and what that sounds like. Now, I'd like for you to consider pain points in your child's daily routine in which predetermined choices can be provided. Over the years, throughout my experience in my life and also in my professional work with caregivers that I've consulted with, these are the main areas that I have seen those pain points. So clothing selection, food options, beverage options, and play selections. You may not be able to tackle all those pain points at once. Really try to find 1 or 2 that you can kind of include this proactive strategy for and try it out. I do have some tips. So here are my top tips for implementing choices at home. So you're going to want to provide 2 to 3 options for your child that are immediately available and within view. Again, like I mentioned before, I try to keep it to 2, but if your child is okay with having more options, you can definitely bring it up to 3. I don't typically recommend more than 3, but whatever works for your child is going to work for your child. You also want to make sure that these items are within view. Of course, there are times where we have to make choices and the items aren't within view. If the choice is Do you want chicken nuggets or do you want meatballs for dinner? That's not something that you are going to have ready right away. You can, provide the bags, or you can provide another visual representation. Again, my company creates a lot of these visual representation, a lot of these visual supports to help you with this. So then you're going to provide immediate access to the selected item. Again, there are times where you need to cook the chicken nuggets or cook the meatballs. So you're just going to model some language during that time, but you're going to want to provide it as soon as possible. So if you have to pop some chicken nuggets in the air fryer, just let them know, hey, I'm going to cook your chicken nuggets, and then you're going to have them. Just, providing them with that communication so they know when to expect their food. What that really does for them is it reinforces their decision-making behavior, and it makes it even more likely that they're going to be open to making a decision and making a choice between what you offer in the future. So giving choices is a tool in your toolbox now, but it doesn't mean it's going to work every time for every circumstance. There are times where it's really not going to work, and that's okay. It's okay if it doesn't work for every little thing throughout your day. What I would encourage you to do is take these moments as a learning experience and don't give up, especially when you're starting out with this. It may be difficult for your child to make a decision because they're not really used to being asked what their choice, what their options, what they would like, what their options are. So I would really like for you to think about reflecting on the times that this flops and look back on it with kind eyes. So, be kind to yourself throughout this, be kind to your child, and really consider improvement for the future. So when you're reflecting, think about, hey, so this time it didn't really work. Why? Let me think about that. Consider it. And then try again. Just like everything, it really takes time to create these new habits and to change behaviors. So trying it once and it flopping doesn't mean it's never going to work. Just keep practicing. Again, the more experience your child has with making decisions and getting the item that they want, the more they're going to want to do it in the future. Again, I just really, really want to highlight, be gentle on yourself. If you're here, you're trying to make improvements, you're trying to learn and grow, and that's what we love. We're all about learning and growing here. So I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, or you're interested in coaching, or if you just want any clarification on this webinar, please email us at info@indielearningco.com. If you're interested in any of our materials or seeing kind of what we do for providing these visual supports and learning materials, all of our materials are adapted. Please visit indielearningco.com. We also have a social media presence. So on Facebook, we have our Indie Laine Learning Co page, which is our business page. We also have a Facebook group that we recently started, and what we're looking to build is just a community of families and professionals, service providers who are looking to really support each other and learn and grow. Again, that's what we're all about, learning. So if you're interested in that, that's called Learning Supports for Neurodiverse Children. We also have a TikTok where we upload a lot of our how-to videos. So there are videos on how we utilize our materials and what kind of goals we really had in mind when we were designing our materials. Our materials are really multi-purpose, and we try to hit as many goals as we possibly can. So that is indielearning.co if you are interested in that. We also have an Instagram. We do pop-up shops here in Arizona. We're from Phoenix. So If you're interested in coming to one of our pop-up shops, we also do sensory story times around the valley. So if you're in Arizona, in the Phoenix area, or if you're ever visiting and would like to come check us out, follow us on Instagram. We typically post all of our updates there. We also post little tidbits and learning information kind of as we feel. We also have a monthly subscription that we offer, and we post all of our materials on there. So it's a really great way to really connect with us. We'd love to have you at any of those. And I just wanted to include some of the references that I use when putting together this presentation. If anyone were interested to read a little bit more about giving choices, I have the 4 that I really used for this. And I hope that you enjoyed this presentation. I look forward to hearing from hopefully all of you, but anyone who's really interested in connecting with us, we'd really love to hear from you. I hope you guys had a great time learning about giving choices, and good luck. You got this.